What's going on, my dudes? This is Chris coming at you from my channel I Am Toys again. This is the new Hot Toys Emperor Palpatine figure that just came out about 4 or 5 days ago in Hong Kong. This is Emperor Palpatine, which I probably just said. Obviously the figure's in 1/6 scale form. There are two versions. There's the regular, which just comes with the figure, and you know, the dark side, electricity, shock effects that he uses in both the prequels and in Return of the Jedi. You get that, and I think both versions actually come with the hilt, with Luke's saber hilt. But obviously with the deluxe you get the chair, and I think most folks are probably going to want this in the end, overall for look and for presence, because it really does dominate. So for those of you, I know some people don't like getting me talking about movies, so I get some complaints. As far as, comments on my videos sometimes, like, hey, what is this, a figure review or is this a movie review, man? It's like, dude, shut up. Yeah, the movies are based on the figures, or I'm sorry, vice versa. The figures are based on the movie characters. So hence, for me, they go hand in hand. So sometimes I give a critique of the film while I'm also doing the figure, and that sometimes irritates people. And I find that the only people who generally get irritated are the people that were pretty much fans of the movie that I'm kind of critiquing, and they don't like me basically trashing it. That happened a lot with Return of the Jedi, or not Return of the Jedi, with The Last Jedi, because I thought it was utter garbage. So usually it's people who generally like that movie who then get mad or something like that, whatever. But anyway, I think the figure's great. For the most part, we'll get into everything. Those of you who know who watch my videos already know to hit that 4K option. We'll spin them around. We'll close out with some thoughts. We'll go through the accessories and so on, and we'll pretty much roll on. So that's pretty much it for the intro. Let's get to it. So here we go with full dark side of the Force. Badass. The sculpt is good. For those of you who don't know who this character is, the guy who played him was Ian McDiarmid, I believe is his last name. I'm probably butchering it, but that's the closest I can get to probably saying it anyway. I think the likeness is just about spot on, so I think it's great. And I think most people are probably going to be doing some kind of pose like this, I would imagine. I mean, why wouldn't you? Putting him with the cane is going to be a little bit uneventful, not as dynamic as this. And I have the ROTJ Luke, so it's going to be fun kind of posing and reposing this guy with him. The effects from the hands, decent detail. I don't think it really takes away from the figure at all. I know some people will get livid, say it makes the figure look toy-like when they give like effects and stuff like that, but this is actually pretty cool. I like that they gave you this stuff. I hope the detail is coming through enough for you. Trying to get that tip to come in, might be a little harder than I think, so we'll just stay away from it. So I think that's coming in pretty good. Give you an idea, I think that's really cool. And as you can see, it adds a whole other kind of dynamic to this figure. It's really badass. So when you folks get this, it's going to be fun. So I'm going to rotate this guy around, and I'm going to drop the hood on him so you guys can see the entire sculpt as he spins around. I will leave the effects on the hands just for dynamic effect. And we'll talk some more shit, right? See you on the other side. All right, so here he goes with the hood down. As I said before, great representation of Ian. I think it really looks like him. I think they captured the likeness well. The paint application is really, really good. Much better than I initially thought. Like, sometimes I don't like the Hot Toys blogger pictures, because I know they like to Photoshop. They Photoshop all the backgrounds in, and I understand, why they do it, so they have the effect of, mirroring some of the scenes from the films, which is great. So a lot of the shots are dark, but it sucks because when you're doing final product photos, It sucks in a way because you want to see the overall, the ultimate detail on the head sculpt, and I want to see how good the paint application actually is. And I can't really make it out sometimes, you know, because they're photoshopping it, you know, and they want it to mirror the scenes from the film, which is good. But again, like I thought the sculpt was a lot softer than I initially. I thought it was softer, basically, than the Proto. And then now that I have it in hand, I'm like, wow. Like, no, it's not. It actually didn't soften that much. It's actually pretty damn good. So, Hot Toys bloggers out there, you know, you're doing a good job. But at the same time, I don't know if there's a way you guys can showcase figures better. Not that you guys even watch my videos, but still, I don't know. I believe in kind of bringing out the detail more so, which is why I'm kind of not a fan of Photoshop as much. You know, I might Photoshop some photos here and there, take things out of images, but I generally don't like recreating scenes. You know, just because specifically with what they did with this, it was darker. You know, you really couldn't get the max detail on the face, at least from some of the photos that I saw. But anyway, I think it's great. You get, you know, obviously the canvas kind of material robe. It's not that great. I'm sure if you could, I mean, it's good enough. You could probably get some customs made. I'm sure some people will, because there are a lot of customizers out there, and a lot of people want a perfect rendition of a figure. So you can even out those wrinkles, you know, and whatnot, make it better pose than what I have here, essentially. And some people may ask, you know, which representation do you feel this figure portrays? Is it a better representation of Revenge of the Sith, or is it a better representation of the previous older films? I don't know. It's not really. I'm not really sure, because it's the same guy who came back to play him. So it's really awesome that he did come back to play the guy, and it's convenient that technically he was older in the prequel, so he kind of morphed into the role just about perfectly. So that's really awesome. And as far as the representation, I don't know. I think they're pretty equal. I think both films he looked really good. Obviously, they had to do probably a little bit more makeup, just because he wasn't as old in the older films. In the prequels, he was older, so he probably came into the role a little bit better as far as the detail. Sorry about losing focus there. Now there's another. He was wearing like another robe underneath. So I don't know if I'm going to take that off and show you guys or not, because I think most people are probably going to detail him, like pose him like this with the robe on anyway. So overall, I don't know. I'll make a decision halfway through the video, and we'll see after the accessories. So I'm going to show you that, and we'll move on to maybe another pose, and then close on out with final thoughts. All right, folks. See you on the other side. All right, so accessories. You obviously get the effects, electric effects from the hands that he basically projects. Hopefully the detail is coming out better on these. And you pretty much insert the hand obviously through here. You can either put them like this, or you can put them like this. This one hangs a little bit down farther. If you want to kind of shock someone who's on the ground, if the person's kind of standing up, I would probably put it like this, and then, you know, arch or pivot the wrist joint however you need to do what you got to do with these. So this is kind of the straighter, more pinpoint one, and then this is the one with the kind of flare effect. And again, same thing. Hands go in there, and you can do the same thing either that way or turn it that way. It's pretty much up to you. And you obviously get some hands. None of them are closed fist, they're all just a variation of open hands. So you got kind of that pointed finger, you know, you can gesture to his face. I love the detail on the hands. The veining is great, the knuckling, the wrinkles, really nice paint application. Here's the other one. Again, really nice veining. And another one. And the last one you get kind of another hand. You could kind of put the hilt in that one, saber hilt. So that's it as far as hands. And again, I just mentioned the hilt, Luke's saber. Those of us who have other Star Wars figures probably have about 100 of these. But this one is, I think, possibly the first one that actually doesn't have, I don't know if that's coming through or not, you know, an opening in the top for essentially the saber to go in that you would normally have with like the Return of the Jedi version or some of the other ones, so you can have the saber in. This one actually doesn't have it. So I don't know if they've ever released one like that before that actually is just with the saber unactivated. I can't remember. So this is maybe unique in a way. If I'm wrong, then it's not unique at all. And again, I don't think this comes with the, I think this does come with both versions. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. And you get your standard Star Wars base. Nothing really impressive about it. Standard base that they normally give. They gave it out numerous times, not just with Star Wars, with other figures as well. Just different variation, color scheme. Standard nameplate on the front. Says Star Wars. Character name. You know, nothing fancy. You know, that wider column crotch grabber. Again, nothing that fancy. And last but not least, you obviously get the, well, not the last, the throne is next, but you get this. It's pretty much made out of plastic. I don't know what it was made out of in the movie. It could have been wood, who knows. I mean, these guys essentially from other planets, not really Earth, not from Earth. So I would imagine it's made out of a substance not known to us. But after watching The Last Jedi, you would think that Luke Skywalker was from Brooklyn and not from another planet. So I don't know. But it's I don't know, that movie. Anyway, so here's the hand, and we'll pan the throne chair next. See you on the other side. All right, so the throne itself. Batteries basically go in here. This thing comes out. 2 AA batteries go in there. I thought I saw somewhere it said 3 AAA. Or AA or something like that, but maybe my eyes were playing tricks on me. But yeah, just 2 AA go in there. Switches right there. You turn it on, and I'll turn that on for you. This doesn't screw in or anything. You basically just stick it right in just like that. Put it right down like that, and then presto, there you go. You can't even really see the light up there. I'd have to turn off the lights to essentially show it to you. But that's just a waste of time. It's not really that bright at all. I wish it was a little bit brighter on the face. But I'll zoom in on this sucker too, and we'll move around, get a little closer, and I'll see you on the other side of that. All right, and here's you go, the master chair. So you get some light up effects, which I'll show you right here. These light up for you. And everything's plastic. Yeah, there's no fabric. I'm not even sure if this was even fabric in the movie, the purple portion. They may or may not have been. Who the hell knows? I wasn't really paying attention to the detail on that in the film. But yeah, it's just one big piece of plastic pretty much. But the attention to detail, I guess, is pretty decent. I'm sure there are those of us out there who will find issues with it that aren't totally accurate. But if you're not totally anal, I'm sure everyone will be happy and okay. But for anyone who does want a true representation of this character and wants it, to really stand out on the shelf, I would opt for the deluxe to get this. It's not some piece of amazing detailed work, but I don't think it really was in the film. So it's good enough. It does the job. And when this sucker comes around again, I'm going to try and show you the 2 lights that are up underneath. I wish they were brighter, just a tad, but they were pretty dark in the film, so maybe that's why they didn't really shoot for it. But most people, you're going to have this lit up in the detail, so you're not going to see it anyway. But I do like that these light up pretty well, and you do get some inner glow on there too, on the inner part. I don't know if I showed you that. And again, these light up on the side. So I'm going to try and show you the bulb underneath here. Hopefully it comes through. So there it is. Hopefully that's coming through, because my display on my camera's off now because it's too close to the eye portion. So hopefully you can see that. And I'm not totally going out of focus there, but that's pretty much it. So that's the throne. That's the chair. That's his seat. All right, so let's do another pose. I'll throw him on the chair for you and do some pans of that, and close out with one last pose and some final thoughts. And that's it, guys. All right, so here's him sitting in the chair again. I have it lit up. I tried to take some of the display light off him so you could see what kind of effect you get from the lights above his head in the chair, but honestly, don't expect it to look that bright either. I have the light still kind of angled on it somewhat so you can see the face, because with it off, it doesn't look too bad, but let me see if I can turn the light off while I'm holding this damn camera to show you. So that's with it off, and it does look good. I mean, he looks evil as hell. And I guess that's kind of the point, right? But I want to be able to show you the face too, though, so I'm going to turn that back on and get in a little closer. Man, evil bastard, dude. The sculpt is so good. And obviously most people are going to keep the hood up. I know I am. I don't really have much use for posing him with the hood down. You know, so glad that they were able to get this guy and he was still alive, you know, to come back and play Palpatine. You know, I liked his portrayal and his origin. Not origin per se, but how he kind of rose and to be the emperor, you know, essentially from becoming a senator to then manipulating his way to becoming the supreme chancellor, and then essentially the emperor. You know, this guy he's the one who essentially declared martial law and outlawed the Jedi Order, if I remember correctly. And if you watch the originals, you know why. Basically tried to say they were attempting to assassinate him, which they obviously weren't, because he was an evil son of a bitch. And you pretty much figured that out. And if you were new to the series, you probably didn't. But any of us, obviously, we grew up in the 80s. We love Star Wars. We essentially knew what was going to happen. It was just cool kind of seeing it play out. You know, if there had to be a good one out of the prequels, I know there's some hate. Some people love them, some people hate them, some people thought they were okay. I think Revenge of the Sith is definitely the best one out of them all, if there had to be one. So I enjoyed it. And again, I think he's a great representation of the character from the film. This figure's mean, man. You can definitely have some fun posing this guy. So, let me shut out with one more pose. And final thoughts, which have pretty much already been demonstrated. You guys know I like this figure. I've got, you know, the hilt there under his hand. Just that one finger touching it. Almost kind of mimicking a tap. Like, so you want this boy? Take it. And I can't remember if he ever had his cane like that in his hand, but I decided to put it there. I thought it looked cool. Either hanging off or kind of straight. I couldn't decide which way I wanted to go. But this figure's mean, man. That is Emperor Palpatine to a T. I just wish one day Hot Toys could get the sculpt of Luke Skywalker from any of the films right. Just about. I mean, we have some close ones. They got the best they ever did with Return of the Jedi, the recent one, but you know, it's still so-so for the most part. But it's the best so far. All right, guys, let's close out one more pose. So all I can say is pretty much wow with this figure. For me, he is one of my most favorite villains. Right up there with Darth Vader. One of the most evil antagonists you could ever come across in the 80s. He was definitely one dark SOB. And again, it's so awesome that they were able to get the same guy to come back to play him, because he killed it. And it was cool seeing his origin, like I described. Kind of seeing how he became the Emperor, how he got disfigured. How the Jedi got outlawed. You know, Lucas, I guess, did the best he could. I don't know, man. It is what it is, though, right? But yeah, this guy is amazing. So again, closing out, whole package deal. If you're going to get the Throne, the deluxe version, I would give this probably a solid 7.5, maybe even an 8. The Sculpt is incredible. I would definitely give the Sculpt a 9.5, or if I want to be conservative, a 9. It's really good. Glad that I picked it up and I didn't let the Hot Toys blogger photos mislead me, because I would have totally thought that the Sculpt got too soft, and it's definitely not. So overall, very happy. I think most folks will be happy with this. I don't know how anybody who's a diehard Star Wars fan, and I know lots of them, and I know lots of us who collect these darn figures, and I don't know how any one of you could not pick this figure up. Detail on them hands are incredible. So grab it while you can. I think both versions are available throughout retailers. And I probably anticipate it going fast, for sure. But that Sculpt is amazing. So that's it, fellas and ladies. Check me out on Instagram, same handle. And I should have some shots up eventually. I want to take some photos probably right after this. And like, subscribe. Check me out again, like I said, on Instagram. Follow me over there, wherever you like. Track me down, whatever you want to do. But that's it, guys. So I'm closing out. Have a good night. Not sure what the next review is I'm going to do. Could possibly be one of the Justice League figures whenever the hell they decide to release them. But we'll see. I'm all about, they can keep pumping out Star Wars as far as I'm concerned, but this figure is great. All right, guys. Deuces.